𝙿𝙾𝚂𝚃𝚃 everyone. Today I'm going to talk about posterior column and sensory homunculus. I hope this will be beneficial information for you. And first of all, I'm going to talk about the types of the proprioceptors. First one is such kind of proprioceptors that conduct its signals to cerebellum, and we couldn't feel this kind of proprioceptors action. And the second one is today's topics, proprioceptors. We feel them by touching something and by feeling our muscle tension and posture and our position and our actions and something like that. And they conduct and direct their signals to hemispheres. Okay. First, look at there's proprioceptors of the lower limb and the proprioceptors of the upper limb. Both of them contains the posterior columns. In the cervical spinal cord, you can find 4 cervical columns. In the lumbar section of the spinal cord, you can find 2 cervical columns, posterior columns. And look at that. The proprioceptors from the lower limbs direct to the spinal cord without entering the gray matter. As they pass through the white matter and ascends via gracilis fasciculus, or we can call them as a goal. Okay? That's mnemonic clue. Football and football. You know the football played with your foot, and the proprioceptors of our lower limbs carry this kind of proprioceptive information via the gracilis fasciculus. Okay? Second one is the cuneatus, fasciculus cuneatus. Fasciculus cuneatus conduct the information from our upper limbs. It's handled for mnemonic view. And proprioceptive information from the upper limb conduct via the pseudonuclear cells, and they enter the spinal cord without entering the gray matter, and they continue its pathway via fasciculus cuneatus. That's the first neuron for them, and the second neuron located in the medulla oblongata. Their name is nucleus vericilis, and second one is nucleus cuneatus. And respectively their names 𝙿 and 𝙾𝙾𝚃. Okay? Until this position, they couldn't cross the spinal cord contralaterally. When they reached there, they crossed the spinal cord in the medulla oblongata, and their next direction directed to the thalamus. In the thalamus located the third neuron. After partial analyzing this kind of impulses from this kind of proprioceptors, they can direct these impulses to the hemispheres. Look at that. There is a sulcus centralis. It can divide two gyrus. First one is postcentralis gyrus, so located here, and the precentralis gyrus located here. Precentralis gyrus is responsible for motor function. Postcentralis gyrus is responsible for our sensory system. That's mnemonic for you. Postcentralis, it's S and sensory. And this part of the hemisphere is illustrated there, and that's homunculus. What does mean homunculus? Homunculus means that the parts of the hemispheres which are responsible for special parts of body's sensory system. Look at that. That's 𝚂𝚗, 𝚲𝚾, and 𝚃. 𝚂𝚗 and 𝚲𝚾 accept information from these proprioceptors. Look at there, look at there, look at there, and you can find out there. And the next our part is our upper limbs. Upper limbs, from this upper limb proprioceptor information directed in this pathway, and the second neuron and the second fasciculus, second fiber, sorry, and the third fibers that terminated in the placental gyrus of this part of this hemisphere. This hemisphere is responsible for our upper limbs. Okay, there's thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger, and our hands and shoulder and other parts of our hands, upper limbs. Okay, that's how it is. And all of the information is provided to you about the physiology of the dorsal columns or posterior columns, and about sensory homunculus. And look at there, that's a clinical consideration. And as a neuropathologist, you can see and you can accept some kind of patients with posterior column lesions. First of all, think about the causes and reasons of this lesion. First one is trauma. You know, any kind of trauma that can be harmful for posterior column. And next one is occlusion of spinal artery. There will be maybe so many reasons: atherosclerotic plaques or thrombosis and something like that. And because of poor arterial supply, the dorsal columns cannot do its function properly. Okay. And the next one is tumors. You know, the oncology is a real problem in our medicine. And vitamin B12 deficiency. Second one is syphilis. You know, the syphilis is microbiological disease, and this disease is caused by Treponema pallidum. And there is special information that syphilis only damage the posterior columns, not any parts of the spinal cord. Next one is multiple sclerosis. Is real. They are the real causes for posterior column events. And as a neuropathologist, you should detect this kind of lesion by several ways. Okay. First one is agraphesthesia. Agraphesthesia, you can check the sensory system of this patient by you ask the patient to blink your eyes, and you draw in the hands or these parts, maybe numbers, maybe some kind of letters, but the patient couldn't say the number or name of the letter. Okay, that's agraphesthesia. Second one is asterognosis. Asterognosis, the patient when he or she blink his or her eyes, couldn't analyze the object. You ask the patient, blink your eyes and give some kind of things or objects into his hands, and by touching this instrument or tools, the patient couldn't analyze the name of this object. Next one is loss of the sense of position and movement. When you ask the patient to blink your eyes, the patient becomes to bending rightward, forward, or opposite and frontal part, or may fall down. That is the loss of proprioceptive information from this kind of proprioceptors to the hemispheres. Okay. Last one is loss of vibration sense. You know, some kind of doctors use special tools to detect the vibration sense by putting this kind of tools in the muscles or joints. The patient says that I couldn't sense or feel this kind of vibratory sense. A lot of information today is all for you, and I hope and I think all of the informations will be beneficial for you in your future career. And in our previous lesson, I wrote down my Telegram nickname. And if you detect and find out some kind of grammatical or some kind of pronunciation errors, please write down me. I again tell about that. My first aim is to creating some kind of complex information for you, and I promise you to improve my speaking ability or pronunciation and something like that, step by step and lesson by lesson. Thanks for listening and watching.